call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home of the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake, 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. I'll introduce the panel members. I'm Marcel Larondo, I'm the chair. Robert Blinky is to my right, and Michelle Duncan is right here to my left. Accessors today will be Candice Wright and Ryan Levy.
He's not an assessor.
Oh, he's not? I thought he was an assessor.
No.
Oh, that's right here. Never mind. I'll be doing okay. Recording secretary today is Bella Rocco. The Zoom participants of the hearing, please note that you are placed in the waiting room until the property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting room. Kindly follow along with the City of Winnipeg Board of Revision YouTube channel for your hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We will be hearing of applications for revision of assessment rules in accordance with the Municipal Act. The matters for which revisions is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit the discussions to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessment of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decision with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value of classification, or a Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each application following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicants may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have the opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decisions by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 and 3 through 11 on our docket today. Ms. Rojo, will you affirm the assessor at this time? And
okay. Yeah. Madam Assessor, please state your full name.
That's right.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On item 1, have you been in contact with the applicant?
Sorry, was that for 915 Nairn?
Yes. Have you been in touch with her, or has she been in touch with you lately?
Yeah, I did actually speak with her twice. I had called her and I was wondering if I could do an inspection of the property. And then I didn't hear back after that, so I'm not sure.
She's not here, so we'll move it down to the bottom.
Okay.
And we'll decide then if we're going to deal with it today or not. We'll move on to item number 2, which is 1380 Winnipeg Avenue.
Oh, sorry, that one's withdrawn. We're on item 3 next.
Item 3? 79 McGregor.
There's no one present for this.
No one present for that one either? We're going to move item 3 down to the bottom as well. Item 4, 7 McGregor.
Also, no one present for this property.
No one present. Number 5, 225 Kinsale Drive. Come on up. We're going to get you sworn in. Yeah, 225. Right?
Yeah, it's 225.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were Helmsdale.
Please state your full name.
And
You affirm the evidence about consent is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I'd up to speed with me. We're dealing with number 5, 225 Helmsdale. Welcome, Ryan. Hello. Candace, when you are ready. Oh, you know what? Give me a second if you don't mind. I gotta bring it up. I gotta get caught up now. After all that, number 5. Go ahead when you're ready. Thanks, Candace.
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 0309-1617-000. This is 225 Helmsdale Drive. This is a piece of land in the South Point neighborhood with R1M zoning. So we are currently assessing it as vacant residential land. There is some hydro infrastructure on site, but we are assessing it as vacant land. So it has the VRES 1 due to the R1M zoning. The lot size is 17,008 square feet. The current 2023 assessment is $163,000, which works out to $9.58 per square foot. And the property most recently sold back in 2014 for $170,500. I have 4 comparables here that are all vacant lots with R1M zoning in either South Point or Prairie Point neighborhoods. The lot size ranges from 10,656 square feet to 12,220 square feet. For land influences, comparables 1 and 2 have a walkway, and comparable number 3 has heavy traffic. The sale price for these properties range from $132,750 to $154,900. This is time adjusted to a range of $133,100 to $156,400, which gives us a time adjusted price per square foot of $11.86 to $13.25. Thank you.
Full presentation?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, Ryan?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Wright, did you have a chance to look through historical images of the site?
I believe I did review our aerial photos, which are typically updated every couple of years. Yes.
And the sale price here mentions it sold on June 20th of 2014 for $170,500.
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware that the hydro transformers were not installed prior to that sale?
Yes. So that sale would have been for the vacant land, and then the hydro transformers were added after the sale. That's correct.
Thank you. And would you agree that the hydro transformers would be a value negative to the subject property?
I do believe so. In a hypothetical situation, if it were to sell for residential development, then obviously there would be a cost to removing those transformers. Yes.
Okay. Right. So I did have a rebuttal to submit, but the assessor actually has answered my questions in full there with regards to the sale. So I have no further questions at this point. Thank you.
Okay. Robert, do you have any questions?
The $170,500, that's the, that is your recommendation on the presentation?
That is the most recent sale price.
Right.
Yeah.
Her recommendation is 163,000, Robert.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my eyes dropped on the line. Yes, that's what I meant to say. 163,000 is the adjusted sale price
No, the assessment.
assessment.
Yeah. The 163,000 is the 2023 assessment.
Thank you.
Michelle, any questions?
No, none at this time.
How do we normally deal with hydro properties, Candace? If there's a building on it, it's taxable, but I thought when it was infrastructure, there was a separate way of taxing that under the Act.
I believe so. A lot of it does come down to not as much the assessment, but the taxation. So typically hydro properties are grantable as opposed to taxable if they're privately owned. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, that would not affect the assessment unless there was a building. So in this case, like I explained, we're valuing it as vacant land, residential land due to the zoning. I do recognize that there are those transformers there, but if there were, say, an actual building on site, we would likely be assessing it as a different type of property.
Okay, so how much of the property is the hydro taking up?
Just kind of a rough estimate, trying to eyeball it here. So it's kind of a triangular shaped property. You can likely see that on the map I've provided. So I'd say maybe just ballpark half of the property, but it definitely would affect the potential to develop it as a residential lot for sure.
It couldn't be developed as a residential lot, could it?
Sorry?
It could not be developed as a residential lot, could it? The way it is now.
The way it is now, no, unless that those hydro transformers, they would need to be removed. And I'm not aware of what type of cost would be involved with something like that.
These lots that you put into to get your number of, they're all developable lots.
Yes, yeah.
They're all smaller lots, but they're not shaped like this one as a pie at a corner of the street and the street, correct?
Yeah. So some of the lots or the comps I've provided, some of them are pie shaped, but it's more of that typical residential pie shaped lot. This is a unique shaped lot as well.
Okay, so if we go to the west of that is that vacant land. Is that parkland now, or has it been put as parkland yet?
To the
west, the east of it, I'm sorry, to the east of it, where Waverly used to be.
To the east. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to refer to a different map here.
You know, Kim Sale comes around the corner.
Yeah.
That used to be Waverly.
Okay.
And it's just to the north of it. Have you got that as parkland there?
Sorry, would that be to the northeast?
Well, this would be
the west is the Richmond West neighborhood.
When the highways here, this would be northeast. Yeah. Northeast.
Yeah, so
it's east. It's actually east of it.
Okay. All right. I'm just gonna go back to my map here and see what you're referring to.
You look at your map where you got Point West coming out.
Yeah. So to the east of Kenniston there, that is being developed currently. There is some parkland where you can see the ponds there, so that would be remaining as parkland, and that area is being developed.
As parkland, correct?
Sorry?
That's being developed as parkland in there, is it not?
There is a section of parkland, like immediately east of this, it is a residential neighborhood. I'm not sure how far east.
Just goes up to the development, up to Richmond West. It's the old Waverly that they've closed off. You see it?
Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure. Like, I just pretty much see a strip of land between the two neighborhoods, but I'm not sure if we're talking about a different area.
I'm just trying to see how you come up with a $9 figure on a piece of property that's not. It's needed for the power for the area for hydro, so that's why they had to pay the $170,000 to get it. You know, let's see what Ryan has to say. Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome.
Ryan, put your forward. Let's hear it.
Okay. All right. So the subject property at 225 Timsdale Drive, roll number 03-09161. 700, file number 22-656. So pages 2 and 3 of my brief are just preamble there. I am just actually going to skip over 4 and 5 as well, which are preamble, and move on to page 6 here. So we learned through questioning that these Manitoba Hydro properties, they do pay a grant in lieu, which is essentially equal to the amount they would pay if they were taxed as a regular property there. So I'll leave that I'll leave that reading here at the beginning of page 6 to your for your leisure there. And on the bottom of page 6 is what I would like to refer to with regards to this property. So section 43, subsection 2.2 of the Manitoba Hydro Act reads, for greater certainty and without limiting any exemption from municipal taxation under the Municipal Assessment Act, the corporation and its subsidiaries are exempt from all taxes levied by a municipality on the following property: conduits, poles, pipes, wires, transmission lines, plant, equipment, and any similar property owned by the corporation or any of its subsidiaries, or occupied or used by any of them in the generation, transformation, transmission, or distribution of power, and any land on or under which such property is situated. So the subject property itself, it is a hydro substation. Going on to page 8 of my brief. It's located in the South Point neighborhood, and the site is 17,008 square feet, and it is zoned R1 with no water or sewer frontage. So with its relation to the Hydro Act here, I guess in a regular case here, all the equipment that lists here in Part A would typically be exempt from taxation. But in this case, again, they're paying a grant in lieu. But for our request today, we're not asking for a change in the liability or the classification. This equipment does provide power to the surrounding properties, and it is necessary equipment in order to keep the surrounding neighborhood going. But we're not ignoring that this land has value, but we do feel that the value should be adjusted further to account for the fact that you are not able to develop this land for residential use. So going on to page 11 of my brief, as I had mentioned, this is a hydro substation. So typically we treat these hydro substations as vacant industrial lands. So the lands that I have here range from 4,386 square feet to 41,873 square feet. They sold for 52,000 to 390,000.
Ryan, what page are you on now? Sorry.
Page 11.
Okay.
Yes, and the sale prices per square foot range from $6.21 to $18.38 a square foot, with a mix of manufacturing zoning there, as you can see on the rightmost column. As I mentioned earlier, we are valuing these as vacant land, but the subject in and of itself is not actually vacant. It contains the necessary hydro equipment, which does restrict its development for single family development. So as such, we do propose a value on the low end of our comparable sales at $7 a square foot. The land value does work out to $119,000 rounded, and we are requesting that the board reduce the assessment to that value today. And that concludes my presentation.
Ryan, any questions? Go ahead. Candace, any questions?
I don't think so. I think I got it. So the reason that you're using industrial land comparables is just because typically these types of properties would occur on land with industrial zoning. Is that right? Did I get that correctly?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay, thank you. No other questions for now.
Michelle, any questions? Robert, any questions?
No questions.
Ryan, could you not have looked up the value that they were valuing some of the other substations at?
I did not do that. Are you speaking of other assessed values?
Other assessed values of substations. I mean, we've got a number of them throughout city. They must have assessed values on them. Have you looked at any of those assessed values?
I mean, I know we would typically do that in our analysis, but in terms of, I guess, establishing a value, that my understanding is that we're not supposed to be using comparable assessments.
Well, not necessarily assessment, but values.
Okay,
You couldn't, like, then I guess you can't find any that they just bought either.
no. But I did not look at other assessments for hydro substations.
Okay. I've got no further questions. Anything in closing, Candace?
I don't really think I have too much to add. I think a lot of it just comes down to deciding, because it is a unique property, just which comparables to use. I mean, obviously there are really no perfect comparables because properties like this don't sell often. So I kind of think that's where the discrepancy comes in, is just on the decision of which type of comparable properties to use.
Ryan, anything in closing?
I think the assessor, Mr. Wright, has actually summarized it quite well here. I think it all just comes down to what the appropriate comparables are that we should use for this, and it all comes down to how much of an investment should we make with these properties, and it would really just have to be based on the sales we see and the fact that it is considered undevelopable land.
Yeah. Thank you. Should we go? Want to make the way to the end?
That is up to you, but she's ready to present now.
Yeah. Ryan, would you mind if we go back to number 1? She's here now.
Not at all.
Okay, we'll just skip back. If that's okay with you. I don't want her to have to sit through the whole presentation with us.
For sure. I request, just for when I am back up here, just an extension cord for my laptop. Just because I think the battery will by the time I get back up here.
We'll find you some power.
For sure.
Diane, if you can come up and get sworn in, please. We're going to revert back to number 1.
Sure.
Applicant has gotten here.
Please state your full name.
Diane. Last name C-U-N-G.
And you affirm the evidence about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Candace, when you are ready.
Okay, thank you. The subject property is roll number 1409-3484-000. This is 915 Nairn Avenue. It's a 1-story house located in the East Elmwood neighborhood, built in 1954 with a living area of 936 square feet. There's a full basement with no basement finish. There's 1 full bathroom. There is central air, no fireplace, and no garage. The lot size is 4,314 square feet, and being located on Nairn, there is heavy traffic with a bus route and commercial adjacent influences. The current 2023 assessment is $164,000, which works out to $175.21 per square foot. We did most recently inspect this property in October of 2018, and we were made aware at that time that there are quite a few issues with the property. So we have put the condition of the house at fair or below average to account for those issues. I did speak with Mrs. Kung a couple of times in August and September 19th, and I was hoping to do another inspection just to kind of get an update on whether that condition has changed since 2018 or not. But unfortunately, we were not able to get that inspection scheduled. So I was just going based off of the information I had from that older inspection. So based on what I knew, I did look for comparables on Nairn Avenue because I feel that the amount of traffic and commercial influence would have an effect on value. I did look for more dated or less renovated houses. I'm not sure that they would be in the same type of condition as the subject, but I did look for houses that had not been renovated. So the 3 comparables I have are all 1 stories on Nairn in East Elmwood. They were all built in 1954. They're all 936 square feet. I did notice an error for my comparable number 2. So all of these properties were listed as having partial basement finish. I do notice for number 2, we have no, so I'm gonna have to review that. So if you could just change that comparable 2 to partial basement finish or yes. The bathroom count for these ranges from 1 to 2. Comparable 3 has central air and the other 2 do not. They all have single car detached garages. The lot size ranges from 4,311 square feet to 4,388 square feet. All have the same influences that heavy traffic in the commercial on Nairn. The sale price for these properties ranges from 195,000 to 210,000. Time adjusted to 218,800 to 235,600. And this just gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $233.76 to $251.71. So as I kind of already went over, we are aware there are issues with the property. So that is the reason that our assessment is coming in a bit lower. Despite these comparables I found being less renovated, we are still assessing it a bit lower than those properties to account for those issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Yes, I want to know, those of this comparison, did they have the foundation problem?
Not that I'm aware of. I didn't note that any of them disclosed any foundation issues in the listing, no.
And those of this property is they all have been upgraded, is it?
Sorry?
Those of this property already upgraded.
They've all been
Inside?
completed?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that? They've all been upgraded? Was that upgraded? So I did my best to find properties that have not been upgraded. So most of these, I think a couple of them were estate sales and most of them were less renovated, more original from when they were built.
Well, I know is the property I had went in these 2 properties. They had been upgraded nicely inside. Same as outside. They had changed the window.
That's for your when you make the presentation. Right now, you should ask questions.
Oh, okay. Is it those of this property had any crack on the wall or on the stucco, something like that?
I'm not too sure if the stucco was cracked.
How about inside the wall? The wall inside, is it they crack or no?
I'm not sure exactly if there was cracking. Like I said, I selected properties that were less renovated. So I didn't have the opportunity to inspect these properties, especially at the time of sale. There may have been changes since then. So I did my best to go from the listing photos to see that the properties were dated. It often doesn't get into specifics like cracks in the walls and those types of things.
No more questions, John?
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Robert, questions?
No questions.
Michelle?
No questions.
And I've got no questions. Diane, if you could go on with your presentation, please.
Yes. Well, I know I had went into 921 and 683. These two property when they for sale, and they had been upgraded inside really nice, and same as the window, they had been changed a new window also. But therefore, the assessor being those of this property come to comparison my property, that doesn't look like right, because my property is beside the foundation has a problem. Is the foundation sinking. This is the picture. The number 1 The picture 915, that's my property. The next one is having new window. Everything is brand new. And inside also brand new. The new window, everything new. And for subject property is you can see on number 2, the subject, the handrail already rust and already rotten. On number 2, on the handrail, you see it's really terrible handrail in there. And number 3, the picture number 3, so step is all cracked, all broken, the concrete all broken, all cracked badly. And the picture number 4, so the door, the front door, because the foundation is sinking, cause the door cannot close properly. You see the door stick out 1.5 inch. You can see the door is stick out, can close the door to the jam at all. And the number 5, you can see the side step is lean is 25%. The sidewalk is badly and the step also badly. And the door, you can see the door is cracked badly. Is did not have a chain at all. You can see number 6 and number 7. The door is pre-old and cracked all over. And you can see number 8, the roof of this house is leaking. Cause inside is the ceiling all get damaged. On number 8 picture. Same as number 9, the ceiling, the roof caused the ceiling get problem. The fixing the roof cost $6,000 for fixing the roof. And number 10, so the stucco all falling down. Number 11, so the crack, this house foundation problem. So the house is cracked vertical, also horizontal, cracked badly. You can see the picture number 11, number 12, number 13, and number 14. You can see they crack horizontal and vertical, all kind of crack. Number 15 and number 16. You can see they crack badly. And even inside, we just take off the wall, the old wall, because they crack badly and they buckle out. So we have to remove the wall, the old wall. Even we do the new drywall, they still crack on the corner here. You see on number 10, we put the mat nicely, but then they crack again. You see number 18 and number 19, they crack badly. Even new drywall. And number 10.
So you're up to 19.
19, okay.
19 and 20.
Okay, and you see the kitchen is missing 2 doors. 2 end door was missing, and the kitchen is old kitchen. Nothing is new in this house. All the door is cracked or broken, and beside that, this house get someone broke in on 2 months ago. They broke in and they cut all the copper off. They remove all the copper of this house. So have to ask the plumbing come to do the water line for this house cost is $7,000 or $8,000 because they remove completely. They come to store the copper. So fixing this house is for do the new roof for this house, it costs $6,000. For do the new door to make it fit of this house, and also for the window, new door and window, they ask for $22,000. For stucco, they do over, they ask $14,000. The front step, they ask $6,000 for front step. And the front handrail, they ask $3,500. And the side step and the sidewalk is they ask $75,000.
7,500.
7,500. Sorry. And the kitchen cabinet, they will take $10,000. And drywall and painting, they ask $7,000. For carpet, vinyl, door, and baseboard, they ask $14,000. For plumbing, for the whole house, they ask for $8,000. So total for repair this house, we come to look like the comparison will cost $98,000. Past PST and PST is $1,000.
110,000.
Yeah. So therefore, is the assess for this property is 164. That is too much, too high. I think the fairness is 120. That or 122. That's the higher is can go, because look on the repair cost a lot of money to, and beside that, just repair this one did not repair the foundation at all. Just repair the house look like the normal house, so we can sell it. It cost $110,000.
Okay, we'll see if there's any questions for you, Diane. Candace, any questions?
Just a couple. So is the house currently vacant?
Yeah. That's why they come in, they stole the copper. We did not know.
Okay.
They put in, they cut all the copper off. You
Okay.
can see the water line in the basement. You can see that this is cut off right here.
We saw that.
Yeah.
Anything else, Candace?
No, I don't think I have any other questions right now. Thank you.
Robert, any questions?
No questions.
Michelle?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Was it your sister that had the evaluation made on the house for the repairs?
It's for repair, the total repair is $110,000.
But your Jennifer, is that your sister?
Yes,
Yeah, that's what I thought. This is her house or your house, this one?
it's her house.
It's her house.
Yes.
So it's registered in her name. Okay. I've got no further questions. Thank you very much, Diane.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thank
And you'll be
you.
hearing from us.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get back to you again, Ryan, once Diane's.
Yeah.
Thank you for being patient.
What I'm going to do, sir? Do you want to go into that? It's like yeah.
Let's recess for 5 minutes. We have PowerPoint set up.
Have a nice day, yeah.
Always, thank you, Dan.
Clear light.
Okay, Candace, we'll call the meeting back to order, and you're up with number 6.
Just to confirm, that's 395 Scotia.
I need a second.
Yes, yes.
I believe you're correct. Let me-
Okay, yeah, I think I have an older copy of the docket, so I think the numbering is a bit different. Okay,
395 school. I'll give the address from now on.
okay, thank you. The subject property is roll number 1100083500. This is 395 Scotia Street. It is, again, we're valuing this as vacant land. There are hydro lines going down the middle. I think it's roughly the middle of the property, but we are assessing it as vacant residential land due to the R1M zoning. This property is located in 7 Oaks, and it is adjacent to the Red River. The lot size is 8,551 square feet, and the current 2023 assessment is at $232,000, which is $27.13 per square foot. So I have 4 comparables here. My main concern was finding vacant residential lots located on a river. So unfortunately, some of my comparables are a little more spread out. You can refer to the map on the second page of my evidence just to see where these are located. Comparables 1 and 2, I would say, are closest in proximity to the subject property, being located in the 7 Oaks neighborhood and the Kildonan Drive neighborhood. The other 2 comparables are in Wolseley and Kingston Crescent, so those are a little bit further away. All of these properties have either R1M, R1L, or R2 zoning. The lot size ranges from 7,125 square feet to 19,200 square feet. As I had indicated earlier, they are all river adjacent. They are all on the Red River except for comparable number 3, which is adjacent to the Assiniboine River. The sale price for these properties range from $160,000 to $401,104. Time adjusted, that gives us $193,000 to $428,800. And that gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $19.11 to $60.18. And I was just going to mention, so I have reviewed Ryan's evidence, and I did see that he was seeking a value of $20 per square foot, which I am actually going to recommend that same value as well, based on mainly my comparables 1 and 2, just because they are the closest in proximity to the subject property. I feel that they're the best comparables. And if you look at those 2 price per square foot, it's $20.08 or $19.11. So based on giving the most weight to those 2 comparable properties, I am recommending that the assessment be reduced to $20 per square foot, which I believe works out to $171,000. Thank you.
Ryan, you're good with that?
Yes, we accept the recommendation. Thank you very much, Candace.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so that'll conclude that matter for now, and we will move on to, is there any questions of panel members?
No, Mr. Chair.
No questions.
Okay, we're just gonna make sure.
Sorry, this property has 2 points of
Oh, ones that have.
review.
Let me pull it back up again. Number 6. Had you asked for a classification change or anything?
On this one, yes, so I just need that addressed.
Who's asking? He was?
He was, yes.
It looks like the records that I had, give me 1 second here.
You must have ticked it off on your application, correct? So clear classification
And value.
and value?
Yeah.
So we got the value. Plus classification. What was he asking for? Ryan?
I am not the lead agent for Manasol Hydro Properties. That would have been another agent's decision here, but I'm going to pull up the record here of our recommendation to see what exactly we're looking for. Again, my records showed here of what was sent to me that we were only appealing quantum on this. So
Somebody take this. Otherwise, you have to sign off on it. Or confirm it. Confirm classification. Did you want to make any presentation on the classification, Ryan?
I am actually not prepared to make a presentation on classification at this time. So
So you'll
I would have to request confirmation, I guess, of the classification liability regardless.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, let's move on to numbers. I'll give you the address.
Thank you.
As soon as I pull it up. Alloway Avenue. That's what I have for an address on number 7.
Okay, yep, sounds good.
Number, correct? Yeah, there's no numbers, just Alloway Avenue.
Yeah.
So that's number 7. Everybody's on number 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Candace.
Okay, thank you. The subject property is roll number 1209-0208-000. This is a vacant residential lot on Alloway Avenue in Wolseley. It has R2 zoning. The lot size is 3,053 square feet, and it does have a commercial adjacent influence. The 2023 assessment is at $142,000, which is $46.51 per square foot. I was able to find 3 comparable properties here. So the subject lot is located near the border between the Wolseley and West Broadway neighborhoods. So for that reason, I could find 2 comparables in Wolseley, but they were a bit further west if you refer to my map. So I used a 3rd comparable from the West Broadway neighborhood just to kind of find some comparables that were located on each side of the subject property. So for these comparables, they all have R2 zoning. The lot size ranges from 2,196 square feet to 2,996 square feet. Comparable number 3 has a commercial adjacent influence. The sale price ranged from $137,500 to $195,000. The time adjusted sale price ranged from $158,000 to $200,500. And that gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $50.07 to $71.95. So based on these comparables, I do feel that the current assessment, which is at $46.51 per square foot, is supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Questions, Ryan?
Yes, so you had indicated that you were looking for comparables more so on the you had looked to the West Broadway neighborhood to find comparables that are more on the east side, is that correct?
Yeah, there really aren't very many sales of vacant residential land in Wolseley. So the 2 I could find were quite a bit further west. So that's why I decided to kind of cross over into that West Broadway neighborhood as well.
Okay. So I guess you're looking at your comparables. Would you agree that it looks here that the west side of the Wolseley neighborhood is more desirable than the east side?
Based on these sale prices, I would say, yeah. I mean, they both sold for time adjusted a little over 70 cents per square foot. So I would say based on these sales, I was able to find, yes, that further west area in Wolseley is likely selling for higher prices.
Those are all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Robert, any questions?
No questions.
Michelle, any questions?
No.
And I've got none. Ryan, on with your presentation, please.
Okay, so the subject property is on Alloway Avenue. The roll number is 12-09 0208 000. File number 22-2205. Just skipping over the preamble here on pages 2 to 5. I have provided maps of the subject property on page 6, and I did include a blank page there. I apologize. And there's a further map on page 8. Please disregard the property description on page 9. I just had run out of time for this brief here, so it looks like I did not update the property description here. This property description is for another property, but the assessor has described the property accurately in this case. So going on to page 13 of my evidence here. The comparable sales, they range in size from 2,196 square feet to 3,037 square feet. The sale prices per square foot, they range from $23.60 a square foot to $69.25 a square foot. We have an average of $39.95 and a median of $29.78 per square foot. So I'm going to acknowledge that the Daniel McIntyre neighborhood, in comparison to the Wolseley neighborhood, in my opinion, is less desirable in this case. So I have considered an upward adjustment there. Looks like we do agree that the west side of the Wolseley neighborhood, where index numbers 5 and 6 are considered the more desirable side of Wolseley. So looking at these comparable sales, it was tough to establish the value because as we've learned, there were many sales on the east side of the Wolseley neighborhood. So based on what we're seeing, we've applied a land rate of $44 per square foot to the 3,053 square feet of land area. And this works out to a value of $134,000. And we're asking that the board reduce the 2023 assessment to that amount.
Candace?
I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
Robert?
No questions.
Michelle?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
And no questions. Thank you very much, Larry. Close that. Darvo, is that the right pronunciation for that one? Darvo?
Yes, I believe so.
Candace, when you're ready.
Thank you.
Darvo, file number 8.
Okay, the subject property is roll number 0606011600. This is a vacant lot on Darvo Street, located in North St. Boniface. This lot actually has 2 zonings, so it's mixed between R2 and M2, but we are valuing it as vacant residential land. The lot size is 8,052 square feet, and it is located near a rail line. The current 2023 assessment is $130,000, which works out to $16.15 per square foot. So I did find 4 comparable properties here that are located in either North or Central St. Boniface. All are vacant lots with R1S, R1M, or R2 zoning. The lot size ranges from 2,907 square feet to 7,709 square feet. None of these properties are located adjacent to the rail line. Comparable 1 does have an internal corridor influence, and comparable 2 is also on an internal corner and has a commercial adjacent influence. The sale price for these properties range from $120,000 to $255,100. The time adjustment is actually flat on those ones, so the time adjusted range is the same as the actual sale price range. And that gives us a price per square foot range from $32.75 to $44.82. So I am aware that there are issues with development on this property due to the proximity to the rail line. We are accounting for that, so we have adjusted our model value a bit to account for those issues and arrive at the $130,000. I do recognize that it is difficult to value these types of properties with issues that can restrict development, like the proximity to the rail line. But we are at this point, we are accounting for it in our value with the $130,000 assessment. So yeah, I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Ryan, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Robert?
No questions.
Michelle?
No questions.
And I've got no questions. Ryan, on with your presentation, please.
Okay, so the subject property is on Darvo Street, roll number 06-06-0116-000, file number 22-1305. Just skipping over the preamble here, I provided photos and a map of the subject property. Now, this property is part of the Qualico Land Assembly, and I've outlined all of the lands here and their roll numbers. The subject property itself on page 6 here, you can see sort of that red marker there, and also I've labeled the roll number there as well. Moving on to page 8, so the subject property, it is part of the Qualico Development's land assembly, and this land, it is located on the east side of Taché Avenue and west of St. Joseph Street on the north side of Darvo. These lands do have dual zoning with the exception of this, these lands do have dual zoning. The subject land has M2 and RMFS. I know I have R2 there. Another part I forgot to update. I do apologize for that. The site size, according to the assessment department records, is 8,052 square feet. So when we value these lands, I know I've mentioned each of them here. We typically look at them as a whole because they, again, are part of the Qualico land assembly here. Going on to page 12 of my brief, we've identified multifamily lands. In this case, again, we're looking at these as part of the land assembly. So the sales that we've identified range from sizes of 29,416 square feet to 56,581 square feet. The sale prices range from 425,000 to 1,060,000. The prices per square foot range from $13 a square foot to $32.72 a square foot. And you can see here the site influences that none of these comparables are influenced by a rail line. So the basis of our argument, it hasn't changed from the past 2 cycles. The buildable area of these lands are reduced because they are across the street from the CNR High Line. Now, the typical setback requirement for properties in close proximity to the High Line is 30 meters from the mutual property line. And given the fact that this High Line is elevated, and I should mention as well that I did inspect the subject property. This was on September 11th of this year. That's indicated on page 4 of my brief. But again, so the fact that this High Line is elevated would further increase the setback requirements, and I have included proof of that, as there are questions in a previous hearing, on page 22 of my brief. The first bullet portion there on the 2.1 on section 2.1 of this railway policy, it does read that the recommended setback distances are to be measured as a straight line horizontal distance from the mutual property line with the rail right of way to the principal building base. Now, I tried to measure this out myself here on Google Earth, and we can see here on page 21 that this yellow line here, that is approximately 30 meters. It looks like the screenshot just didn't capture.
Page are you on now?
Page 21. The screenshot just didn't capture the measurement here, but that line there does measure 30 meters, and I had to approximate the the property line of the high line here to measure it out. So we can see that it takes up almost half of the lot. So, since the subject lands have industrial zoning, I'm going back to page 13 of my brief now. Again, with the this would trigger a review of the setback requirements. And then we can also see on page 45 of my brief, I know I'm going back and forth here, just an example of when the setback requirement was actually implemented. This is for a property at 825 Taché Avenue. And it reads here in the highlighted portion, for applications involving a rezoning and or subdivision, the Urban Planning Division requires new development adjacent to or abutting railway operations to incorporate the safety measures identified in the guidelines for new development in proximity to railway operations, which was prepared for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and Railway Association of Canada. And it further reads, what's unique about the subject application in relation to the guidelines is although the land may be adjacent to the CNR mainline, the city has a reversionary right over parcel F for a potential route for the Eastern Rapid Transit Corridor. This reversionary right does not permit the construction of any buildings or structures within parcel F, and if executed would mean that the subject property may no longer be adjacent to the rail line and would abut the rapid transit line. Considering this reversionary right, the proposed development is separated from the rail line by both parcel F and the Darville right-of-way, which is 66 feet wide. In addition to these setbacks, the city of Winnipeg has requested a 3-meter construction easement associated with a potential future rapid transit corridor, which I understand is no longer being established in this area. So now in total, including the proposed building setback, will be 38 meters from the CN right-of-way, which is 27% further than the recommended 30-meter setback from the principal main line. And there is a map that the council minutes have provided here on page 41 for your reference. So again, taking into consideration the issues with with the ability to develop this land, we're asking the board it's a small reduction here from 130,000 to 123,000. This works out to $15.25 a square foot. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Candace, any questions?
Yeah, I just have one question. I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding this setback properly. So there's a 30-meter rule from the shared property line, but that can be re-examined. So like in the case you presented, they actually decided instead of 30 meters, it would be 38. So that's something that if development was going to occur on this site, that setback restriction could change. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. So these are recommended setback requirements based on the railway operation, based on the railway policy guideline.
Okay, so basically it's best case scenario setback is 30 meters, but it could be further. Is that kind of the of it?
Yes, I think that would be the case for this property.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Robert, any questions?
I have no questions.
No questions, Mr. Chair.
So I guess they decided not to go ahead with that redevelopment at this time.
There are no plans to develop the site right now. They just haven't worked towards it at this time. So there's just nothing planned at the moment.
Well, they had planned it, but I guess they pulled back.
Exactly, but it is still owned by Qualico.
Yeah.
And much of the delay too was due to the rapid transit corridor, to my understanding. So that was another factor. But then my client did also state that the railway setbacks are certainly a consideration.
Okay. Leave it with us. We'll have our discussion. That's the Darville one. Number 9 is going to be Helmsdale, correct?
Okay.
Are you ready, Helen? When you're ready, Candace.
Thank you. The subject property is roll number 0201137400. This is 220 Helmsdale Avenue. This is a vacant lot with R1M zoning in the Rossmere B neighborhood. It is, the assessed lot size is 26,574 square feet, and it is located on an internal corner. The 2023 assessment is $744,000, which works out to $28 per square foot. The property did sell fairly recently in 2019 for $1,050,000. And so when it was purchased, there was a church on site, which has since been demolished. On the third page of my evidence, I included the permit for the demolition of that church. So it was issued in May of 2019, shortly after they took possession of the property. So I just put that in there for some more information that 2019 sale was not actually a vacant land sale. It had the church on site that was demolished right after. So I do have 4 comparables here. It is difficult to find comparable properties of a similar size in this neighborhood because the subject property is fairly large. But I did find 4 vacant lots with R1M or R1S zoning in the Rossmere B or the Monroe West neighborhoods. The lot size for these ranges from 2,458 square feet to 6,354 square feet. Comparable 1 has a light traffic influence. And the sale price for these properties, again, they are significantly smaller than the subject. So the sale price ranged from $90,000 to $140,500. We've time adjusted that to a range from $89,200 to $139,200, which gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $21.91 to $36.29. So based on these comparable properties, like I said, I am aware that the subject is much larger than all of these comparables, but it is supported on a sale price per square foot basis, the current assessment, which is at $28 per square foot. Thank you.
Ryan, questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Robert, any questions?
No questions.
Michelle? And I've got no questions. Ryan, on with your presentation, please.
Okay, so the subject property at 220 Helmsdale Avenue, the roll number is 02-011-374-000, file number 22-3171. Again, the first few pages of my brief here are all just preamble, so I'm just going to skip on to page 6. I provided a map of the subject property, so you can see here that it is adjacent on the first photo to 755 Henderson, and I'll speak more to that later on in my presentation. Provided a further map on page 7 of my brief. And going on to page 8 here. So the subject property is a single family vacant land parcel, and it's located on the southwest side of Helmsdale Avenue between Henderson Highway to the west and Brazier Street to the east in the Rossmere B neighborhood of the city of Winnipeg. The site size, according to the City of Winnipeg Assessment Taxation Department records, is 26,574 square feet and is zoned R1M, residential single family zoning. And the subject property, as the assessor stated, was previously improved with a church that was demolished in April 2020. And I've just included just a little article here on page 19 just to show that there was a church there. I'm not going to speak to that too much in my presentation here. And going on to page 12 of my evidence. So the subject property, it's located in an already well-established neighborhood. There were no single family vacant land sales that we were able to identify in the Rossmere B neighborhood between January 2018 to April of 2021. Therefore, we did have to look to other neighborhoods to identify some sales. So the comparable sales, they range in size from 10,159 to 12,982 square feet. The sale price per square foot range is $9.43 to $26.45 a square foot. The average sale price is $15.16, and the median is $12.39 per square foot. We do consider index number 1 to be the most comparable to the subject property. It's a single-family vacant land parcel, and it's already located in a well-established neighborhood like the subject property, but it is significantly smaller. Very limited weight was given to indices 2 to 4, as they are located in a much newer neighborhood than the subject. So there was a concern that we have identified with the sale price of the subject property. So the property was initially purchased by the owners of the adjacent office building at 755 Henderson Highway with the intent of retaining a portion of the site to provide for additional parking that is needed for the office building. So that was the adjacent property that I was speaking to on the map of page 6 of my evidence. What had happened was that the owners did intend to develop this site and to use part of it as parking for one of the units at 7055 Henderson Highway, as the parking at 755 Henderson was not sufficient to handle the inflow of customers coming in. And the plan for the remainder of the site was to build a multi-family building. So in there, you can already see the fact that they purchased this property with the intention of developing it for additional parking results in this sale price that is referenced in the assessor's brief as motivated, in our opinion. And there is actually further issues with this site. The infrastructure is not sufficient to actually handle a multifamily building, as was what was originally planned. So those plans have been abandoned for a much less and so now the land can only handle a much less intensive development, which is single family in this case. So based on our analysis, we are asking to reduce the assessed value for the subject property to $26 per square foot, and that is already on the high end of the comparable sales that I've identified over the 26,574 square feet of land area, and this results in a value of $691,000. And that concludes my presentation.
Candace, questions?
Yeah, just one question. So they had to abandon the plan to develop as multifamily. So they do currently have that option to subdivide into residential lots? Is that currently the plan for this property?
So I might have misspoke here. So I guess what I was saying was that the development that this land is capable of handling is single family. There are no plans, to my knowledge, to develop any single family homes on this site.
Okay. So right now they're just holding the land. There's no development plan in the near future then?
To the best of my knowledge, but I do know that they are still planning on using part of it as parking. And I guess to subdivide it would require a variance application, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Robert?
No questions.
Michelle?
Mr. Chair.
But at this time, it's still it's residential land. R1, RM1, or residential. So it means it could be split into single lots.
Yes,
Right.
I think that would be a possibility.
So that's the way it should probably be priced then, is that not correct? I mean,
At this stage, yes. So
single lots, is that not what the city did? Use single lot values
yes,
in the area?
in the area, yes. And I do see here that they have found comparable sales within the Rosser and Bree neighborhood, and I know that there's just been an issue with land titles producing these sales for us. So I
But you do see
acknowledge.
the city did find some good comparables there.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay,
But then I think there would be with this one, 776 Frazier, possible economies of scale taking into place, but
value goes up, smaller the loan. Okay, leave it with us and we will decide. We'll now move to 620 South Drive. And when you are ready, Candace.
Okay. The subject property is rule number 0309-122-7500. This is 620 South Drive. It is a piece of vacant residential land with R1L zoning in the Wildwood neighborhood. The assessed lot size is 18,000 square feet. This is located adjacent to the Red River, and it's also on a bus route with light traffic. The current 2023 assessment for this property is $540,000, which is $30 per square foot. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all vacant lots with R1L zoning on South Drive, located either in the Crescent Park or Wildwood neighborhoods, but they are all on South Drive. Comparables 1 and 2 are also located Red River adjacent. Comparables 3 and 4 are actually not located on the river. I just chose to include them just to have more comparables available, but I do believe that comparables 1 and 2 are most similar to the subject property due to being located on the riverside. The sale price for these properties range from $320,000 to $800,000. Time adjusted to $327,000 to $805,600, and that gives us a time adjusted price per square foot range from $13.15 to $30.48. So I do feel that based on these comparables, particularly comparables 1 and 2 that are also located on the river, and the subject lot is smaller than both of those comparables at 18,000 square feet. So I do feel that the current 2023 assessment of $30 per square foot is supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Ryan, questions?
yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Wright, does the model consider the measurement of the frontage of each of the comparables and the subject property?
I'm actually not too sure if the model does consider the frontage of the properties.
Do you happen to know the frontage measurement for each of your comparable sales as well as the subject property?
I did not write that down. Just looking, based off of my map, I would assume that the comparables are likely have a bit longer frontage than the subject property, but I don't have the actual measurements in front of me.
Do properties with a wider frontage typically sell for more per square foot?
I'm honestly not too sure. I just don't have the data and the number of sales to give an accurate response on that.
Those are all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michelle, any questions? Robert?
No questions.
So your subject is at 620.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why comparable number 2. Which one's comparable number 1 then?
Comparable 1 is at 790 South. So on the map, it's kind of in the bottom left corner.
That's a vacant. Number 1 is vacant?
Yes, yeah. These were all vacant at the time of sale. I'm not too sure. Some of them may have been developed since then, but these were all vacant sale prices. Or there may have been a house that was demolished shortly after, but these are all sales that we would consider for our purposes vacant land sales.
Number 1 was $13 a square foot, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So why the big jump between 13 and 30? Is it lot size?
Yeah, if you look at lot size, so comparable 1 is over 60,000 square feet, and then comparable 2 was just over 27,000 square feet, and it sold for a little over $28 per square foot. And then the subject is at 18,000 square feet.
Okay, on with your presentation, Ryan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property at 620 South Drive, roll number 03-01, roll number 03-09122750, file number 22-3254. Skipping over the preamble here. And it looks like the Hydro Act got mixed in with this one, so please do disregard pages 6 and 7 of my brief. And just going on to page 8 of my brief. So the subject, it is vacant residential land. There are no hydro poles on there. It's another error. And it is located in the Wildwood neighborhood. The site is 18,000 square feet and it is zoned R1L. And the subject has only 75 square feet of frontage. And you can see here a map on page 8. Going on to page 10 of my brief. So we've considered the sales here as shown in the table. Comparison 555 South Drive is smaller than the subject property. It is not along the river and has larger frontage than the subject here at 100.63 feet. Comparison 596 South Drive, larger than the subject property. It is along the river with larger frontage at 109.2 feet. 759 South Drive is smaller than the subject property. It is not along the river, but has larger frontage at 100 feet. And 790 South Drive is larger than the subject property. It is along the river with larger frontage at 126.29 feet. So these comparables, they range in size from 12,164 square feet to 61,268 square feet. The sale prices range from 320,000 to 800,000. The sale prices per square foot range from $13.06 a square foot to $30.42 a square foot. The average sale price is $24.87 a square foot, and the median sale price is $27.93 a square foot. So taking into consideration the size of the property as well as the amount of frontage, it being smaller than the comparable sales that we've observed, we've applied a rate of $26 a square foot, and this works out to $468,000. And we're asking the board to reduce the 2023 assessed value to that amount. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Questions, Candace?
Just one question for you. So how did you decide on the $26 per square foot as the value you were seeking?
So the frontage on the subject is 75 feet. The frontage for the remaining properties here range from 100 to 126 feet. 13, 15 we felt was too low, so we went sort of on the lowest end of the higher valued comparable sales here. So we chose a value of $26 square foot based off of that.
Okay, thank you.
Robert?
No questions.
Michelle?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Has this one already had the bank stabilization done on it? Lot?
That I am not aware of.
Do you know where the floodplain level is on it?
I do not know.
Do you know what the depth that they're allowed to build on the lot to is? That you do not know.
I do not have that information, no.
Oh, a lot of the homes along there have had it done, but there's a few that are missing it, so. Candace, could I ask you a question on this one?
Sure.
Are there any restrictions on building on this property?
Not that I'm aware of. Just bear with me for one moment here. I'm just going to see if I can find anything. When I was doing my review, I didn't make note of any restrictions. Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure. There are currently no permits taken out on the property. So I'm not sure what the situation is there, why it's just sitting vacant, but there are no permits and I see no other information.
When was it developed as a lot? Do you have that?
Sorry?
When was it developed as a lot?
When was it developed as a lot?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. So I do have. It looks like there may have been some sort of subdivision back almost 20 years ago, 2004. I see something, but I don't have any details about what.
On the lot next door? On the east, the bigger lot, correct? Next door?
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like in the early 2000s, there was some sort of new plan involving those two lots. I'm not too sure how the property changed at that time, the property lines.
Is it still the same owner? Did you have the sale on it after that? Or is it still the same owner next door?
Sorry, I'm just waiting to load. So 620 South Drive, it was most recently sold in 2004. So that likely was when that change occurred.
Okay. I'm good with my question. Everybody's good. We're gonna move on to the next after I figure out how to do this. And next one, the next one doesn't have an address, correct?
Yep.
Number 11.
Okay, sounds good. Yep.
When you're ready, Candace.
All right, thank you. The subject property is roll number 0303404000. This is again a piece of vacant residential land with RR5 zoning. It is located in the Cloutier Drive neighborhood, and there's no street address currently associated with the property. The assessed lot size is 130,244 square feet. It is unserviced and it is adjacent to the Red River. And then if you refer to my map, it is kind of visible there. So the property is kind of landlocked. So it actually does not adjoin any of the streets. As far as I'm aware, and as far as I understand, and I think Ryan may have more information on that, it is an easement that allows access to the property. So the current 2023 assessment is $270,000, which works out to $2.07 per square foot. The property did sell fairly recently in November of 2021. I have excluded that sale price just because it was post-reference information. I have 4 comparable properties here that are all vacant residential lots with a Red River adjacent influence. They're all located either in the Cloutier Drive or the St. Vital Perimeter South neighborhood on Christie Road. The lot size, the zoning on these properties is either R1E, RR2, or RR5. The lot size ranges from 39,988 square feet to 123,807 square feet. Comparables 2, 3, and 4 have similar influences to the subject property with being unserviced and located along the river. Comparable 1 is a serviced lot as far as I'm aware, so that would be a difference to consider, as well as it has the heavy traffic and the commercial adjacent influences. The sale price for these properties range from $220,000 to $387,500. This was time adjusted to a range from $220,000 to $393,300. And the time adjusted price per square foot range is from $2.68 to $5.50. So I am aware that this is a fairly unique property. I believe there is some riverbank stabilization needed. There is the issue of it. It is somewhat landlocked, and there is that easement required for access to the property. So it is difficult to value this type of property, but I feel that at the $2.07 per square foot, we are currently lower on a price per square foot basis than the comparable properties. So I do feel that the current assessment is somewhat supported by market evidence. Thank you.
Ryan, questions?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Questions?
No questions.
Michelle?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
I'll hear Brian's presentation before I get questions. Go ahead.
All right, so the subject property is on Cloutier Drive. The roll number is 03-03404-0000, file number 22-881. Just skipping over the preamble again here. I provided maps on page 6 of my evidence. You can see here that it is an irregularly shaped parcel of land. And I provided a further map on page 7. You can see by the red marker there where the subject is located. Going on to page 8 of my brief. So the subject property is a single family vacant land parcel in the Cloutier Drive neighborhood. There is no private access to the subject. Access to this site is off of McBell Road through a roadway at 70 McBell Road where an easement has been put in place. So if we look to, again, going back to page 6 here of my map, we can see 70 McBell Road here directly to the north of the subject property. There is a roadway here, but clicking through the city's aerial maps here, I did discover that this roadway does actually belong to 70 McBell Road and that there is an easement in place. We've learned through questioning my client that there is significant remedial work that is required in order to stabilize the riverbank at this property. And I've included my client's email on page 16 of my brief here. So this is the quote that they were given. To be fair, I'm not too sure when they received this quote, but they have stated that there is 150 meters of riverbank stabilization required. And the firm that they had hired to estimate this estimated the work to be done at $1,800 to $2,200 per meter. This works out to approximately $300,000 worth of remedial work. The site size is 130,244 square feet. This works out to approximately 3 acres, and it is zoned RR5 for rural residential.
Questions, Candace?
Oh, sorry, not done yet. Going on to my comparables.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And going on to page 12 of my brief here. So we did do a comprehensive search. And again, it looks like, again, the data that we have access to right now regarding land sales is just limited. It seems that when we searched for these sales on land titles, and I can respect the assessors comparables here that they have identified a property on Cloutier Drive in the Wildwood neighborhood, but we were not able to identify those in our analysis. So the sales range in size from 60,994 square feet to 218,089 square feet. The sale prices range from $190,000 to $293,500. The prices per square foot range from $1.17 to $3.28 per square foot, and all have rural residential zoning as well. So considering that the site has no private access, it is through an easement, and the fact that it does require significant remedial work in order to stabilize the riverbank, we are suggesting a land rate of, in its current state, of $1 per square foot be applied to the 130,244 square feet of land area, and this results in a value of $130,000. And that does conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Candace, any questions?
Yeah, so the 150 meters of riverbank stabilization that's required, is that required to do any development at all on this property, or is it specific to what this owner would like to build?
We did receive the report for this. I just didn't have time to go through it yet. I'm not too sure if it's specific to the owner's needs or if it's just to stabilize the riverbank in general.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions at this time.
I do not have any questions.
Michelle?
Just logistical, where'd you get the address from?
Cloutier Drive. That was just a point to our rec. Sorry.
The 220 Helmsdale?
No.
220 Helmsdale. Oh, I'm so sorry. There were multiple briefs due that I wasn't expecting on the same day, so the address should be Cloutier Drive. Thank you.
Correction. Okay. I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Okay, you're going to stick around, Candace, for a bit. We're going to have to take a short recess to have a discussion on these properties that we still have to do something with.
Okay, I'll stay here.
Okay, we're going to take a short recess and stick around. Thank you. We'll call the meeting back to order, and at this time we have heard all the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you, Candace. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Shut her down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.